Hey Cedar Bridge, welcome to Church Online. We have a snow weekend here in Eastern North Carolina, so we are doing church from home. I'm Amanda, and I'm going to get us started off with some announcements before we jump into Amy's sermon. First off, all of the announcements that I'm going to be going through are actually in our newsletter that we send out weekly. So if you're not getting that in your inbox already, please take a moment to text Cedar B to the number 22828. That'll get you connected to us and make sure that that newsletter gets to your inbox every week. All right, our first announcement is about the Dream Survey. If you have not filled out the Dream Survey yet, please take a chance or a moment to do that. This is a good way for us to find out what you're liking or maybe not liking about Cedar Bridge so far. We are a brand new baby church, and we want to hear from you about ways that we can improve. Also, if you have any ideas of things that you want to start up, like an affinity group, or if you want to get connected and serve on a team, that's a good place for you to go ahead and mark that too. So take a chance to fill out that survey. For our February mission project, we're going to be putting together some treat bags for the students at the Peel Center. And we're going to deliver them on the 14th. So there is a link in the newsletter for you to sign up for items to donate. Make sure that they are all at branches by February 13th. And then that Sunday after worship, we're going to hang out and stuff bags. So there's a link in the newsletter for that, like I said. Also, our Cedar Bridge birthday celebration is coming up. If you have any ideas or are interested in helping out planning that celebration, you can contact Laura Morgan or Blair Vick to get started with that and help out. Also, we are going camping in April. It's basically turned into a church camp. So if you have any ideas for things that you might want to do there while we're camping, if you want to help plan devotionals and things like that, contact Beth Fry and we can get that planning started. It's going to be a lot of fun. Even if you're not going to come up and stay the weekend camping, feel free to drive up. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. There's lots of us going and it's just going to be a blast, so you need to be there. Also, we are going to start up a co-ed softball team. If you're interested in playing, you can contact Jacob Joyner. That sounds like fun. For the ladies, we are going to do a favorite things gift exchange. So the information for this is all in the newsletter. If you would like to participate, you can RSVP to Blair Vick also. And there is a monetary limit for the gift. It's going to be a fun exchange for the ladies and just a great time for us to hang out together. Since in-person church was canceled today, we are having to move Rooted to next January, good gracious, next Sunday, January 30th. So kids, enjoy the snow and we will see you then. All right, that's all I've got for now. One last little plug for our social media team. If you are watching this on our Facebook platform, please hit us with some likes and loves and share this on your stories or feed so we can help spread the Cedar Bridge love. All right. Okay, guys, have a great rest of the weekend and let's enjoy Amy's sermon.
Hi, friends. I'm happy to see you today, even though things look a little different for us today because of the winter weather. Hope you're staying safe and warm. We've been talking for the last few weeks about what it means to be beloved of God. We've looked at several stories. We've looked at Jesus' baptism, that before Jesus did anything miraculous or wonderful or unexplainable or healing or teaching, any of that, God called Jesus his beloved child. This is my beloved. I am well pleased. Just because he existed. And God says that same thing about us. Then we looked at the story of Jesus being tested in the wilderness by the accuser. The accuser asked one main question over and over and over. If you are the Son of God, then do these things. What will you do to prove that? Are you really who you say you are? This question dug down to Jesus' core identity. His identity was tested over and over. Do you really believe you are God's beloved? Belovedness, it's our starting place. It's our home base. It's our core. And we have needed to focus on this and to sit with this for a few weeks because everything in our lives will test this. You've probably seen in many ways how that's already been tested for you. Do you believe that God loves you deeply in your core just because you are? Because the truth is, our answer to that question will really color our entire lives. Can we really believe that? Can we go through life and see life through the lens of, I am God's beloved child? What would life look like if we could? Our passage today comes from John 2, verses 1 through 11. Hear these words from the Passion Translation. Now on the third day, Jesus' mother went to a wedding feast in the Galilean village of Cana. Jesus and his disciples were all invited to the banquet, but with so many guests, they ran out of wine. And when Mary realized it, she came to Jesus and asked, "They have no wine. Can't you do something about it?" Jesus replied, "My dear woman, don't you understand that if I do this, it will change nothing for you, but it will change everything for me. My hour of unveiling my power has not yet come." Mary then went to the servers and told them, "Whatever Jesus tells you, do it." Nearby stood 6 stone water pots meant to be used for the Jewish washing rituals. Each one could hold about 20 gallons or more. Jesus came to the servers and instructed them, "Fill the pots with water right up to the very brim." Then he said, "Now fill your pitchers and take them to the master of ceremonies." And when they poured out their pitchers for the master of ceremonies to sample, the water had become wine. When he tasted the water that had become wine, the master of ceremonies was impressed with its quality. Although he didn't know where the wine had come from, only the servers knew. He called the bridegroom over and said to him, "Every host serves his best wine first, until everyone has had a cup or two. Then he serves the cheaper wine. But you, my friend, you've reserved the most exquisite wine until now." This miracle in Cana was the first of many extraordinary miracles Jesus performed in Galilee that revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. Now, by all the accounts, this was the very first miracle that Jesus performed, turning plain water that was in urns used for cleaning into exquisite wine. This is how Jesus revealed himself to the people around him for the very first time. This is Jesus's "this is who I am" story. And this miracle it's really different from all of the rest. There is no healing of sickness. There's no returning outcasts of lepers into community. Later, we'll see Jesus healing broken bones, healing broken people, returning people back to their same health and wholeness and agency. But this first miracle was about hospitality and community, about a family not being embarrassed because they didn't have enough party beverages to feed their crowd, about making a celebration even more celebratory, about recognizing and enjoying the goodness of life without needing to fix anything or heal anyone or bring health to an unhealthy situation. This miracle was simply about living life to the fullest, enjoying what's meant to be enjoyed. This is how Jesus chose to reveal himself. And I can't help but think, isn't that beautiful? That is beautiful. Can we let that speak for itself and be beautiful? Can we let this be enough to be a miracle? Because aren't miracles really in the way that we perceive them? Lots of people debate the question. This story, well, was it real wine? Could it have just been juice? The underlying question being, why would Jesus promote more partying to people who'd already had plenty? Does it matter? Water, wine, juice? Does it matter? Whether this water was turned to the finest wine or the cheapest store brand grape juice, is it any less miraculous? Many times miracles are the way that we choose to see something. Can we surrender to the possibility of something not being explained? Of something not being able to be categorized? Can we allow ourselves to be in wonder and in awe of something that's beautiful and celebratory just for the simple fact that it is? No explanation, no need for someone to be right or wrong about a situation, just celebrating for the sake of celebrating. More wine because it's a wedding, and why not? Walter Brueggemann, who is a deeply profound theologian, says that throughout the Bible and in our lives, we see this what he calls the scandal of the particular. And what that means is that sometimes we focus so much on the details, the how, the when, the exactly what happened now, and where exactly did this take place, and can you give me the steps 1, 2, 3, what really happened here, that we miss the point. We miss the point entirely. We miss the beauty and the wonder and the awe. We miss the awe of the moment. And the temptation is to do that with this story here. To make it make sense to us. To make it be reasonable to us. Because if it doesn't match our view of who Jesus is, or what Jesus would do, or what an appropriate person would want, then it simply can't be. Can we trust that God really does enjoy celebrations enough to make this the first way that Jesus revealed himself, his godness to people around him? That can we trust that that following the Jesus way really does include joy and celebration and revelry just as much as sacrifice? Can we trust that celebration and fun and joy can indeed be a spiritual practice of our faith? Now, also as I read the story, I can't help but laugh a bit here. You can really see the scene in your mind's eye. A wedding banquet. Jesus is sitting with his friends and he's with his disciples, and his mother comes to him, and maybe they're sitting at table 15 and they're by the kitchen, and Mary realizes they don't have any more wine, and there are a lot of people here. They need more wine. She walks over to Jesus and says, "Can't you do something about this? Nudge, nudge. Can't you fix this?" Jesus doesn't really want to seem to do anything. And I laugh because in between the words on the page, I can almost see the look. The mother to child look of, I know that by the tone of my voice, I seem like I'm asking a question, but I'm really not asking a question. I'm not going to mention this again, look. And some of you might think, big deal. They'd been partying for a few days anyway. They'd been celebrating. They were customary that wedding celebrations lasted for up to a week. And it's time for people to go home. This is not a big deal. But maybe Mary knew what kind of embarrassment this family might experience. Maybe Mary saw the shame of the miscalculation of how much wine people would drink, and that could actually bring the family. Maybe that's what Mary was thinking about. But maybe Mary was just encouraging Jesus to be who she knew he was. Maybe Mary, who knew who Jesus was eager to see Jesus step into that role, even if he was saying it's not really quite time yet. What miraculous things can occur if we step into our role of who we are in our truest identity? What could happen when we step into who we are in God? And we can't leave this story without noticing. Who noticed this? Who even saw this first miracle? This is recorded as Jesus' first miracle, and who actually saw it? Well, the hired help, the servant staff, the kitchen workers, those behind the scenes making the day important for the important people. That's who saw this. Jesus never missed a chance to build relationships or align himself with those in society that others would think are less than, are not worth it, with women, with servants, with tax collectors, with sick, with outcasts. Jesus never failed to stand in solidarity with those people. That is who he revealed himself to first. Now, I have a little story about a miracle that I've shared with a lot of you, but it's worth telling again here. My dear friend, and many of you knew Nelson Cooper. Now, we worked together in youth ministry and had taken the youth to Carowinds. We'd ridden a bus there, spent the whole day riding rides and playing and having a blast. Just enjoying life for the sake of enjoying life with teenagers. And we're on our way back to drop the kids off with their parents when our bus ran out of gas. Now, we coasted into a gas station, literally on fumes. A bus, 40 teenagers, filled the bus up with fuel. Now, this was a diesel, a big school bus. It's a diesel engine. We filled it up with fuel, cranked the bus, ready to head home. Only the bus didn't crank. Cranked again, and the bus didn't crank. Over and over and over. And what the folks who know a lot more about engines than I did decided was that we'd actually literally run that diesel engine to its last drop. And the pump, the engine would need to be primed again, which we couldn't do. It's about 11 o'clock at night. We're 45 minutes still away from home and are starting to think, I'm putting into action, plan Z by this time. How do we get people here to get the students home? Whirling. What's going to be the next thing? When Nelson Cooper says, all right, everybody out of the bus, we are going to pray. We're going to put our hands on this bus and pray. Now, I have to be completely honest. I loved Nelson dearly. But at that moment, I could have hit him. I was thinking, we are going to pray over this bus and nothing's going to happen. And I'm still going to have to get kids home. And now I'm going to have to explain to them why God didn't answer their prayer to miraculously start a bus that we knew was not going to start. Scientifically, technically, all of the signs pointed to we were going to have to wait for someone to come and actually prime the engine for us. But all the teenagers get off the bus. We all put our hands on the bus somewhere. And as Nelson is praying, I'm praying, God, give me the words to say when this bus doesn't vroom. It cranked. I kid you not, it cranked. Just as the students had surrounded this bus and were praying for it to start, it actually did. It cranked. Now, that was a miracle. Whether it was actually a miracle or not, it was a miracle. Because to those students at that moment, God answers prayer. God cares about them getting home safely. God answers the prayer of those in need. God cared enough about them to listen to their cries. And for this then youth minister, God cared enough to want to show me show my ego that I did not have him all figured out, buttoned up in a way that I could easily explain. It was a miracle for me too. You know, part of being alive is that we can surrender to the awe of the miraculous. That we can choose to see something through the eyes of wonder. That we can allow something to exist and we can stare at it. We can focus on it. We can just admire, stare in awe at the beauty and the celebration. That we don't have to explain everything or make it all make sense. It means surrendering to the celebration when celebration is called for. It means viewing things through a lens of what could happen, even if we aren't sure where that comes from or what it all means. My prayer for us, for you, is that we could choose to see the world through eyes of awe. That we could choose to be alive in the awe of Jesus. Because I know those servants, Mary, the disciples, were doing just that. So may you rest today in your identity as God's beloved. May you get lost in the awe of something bigger than yourself. May you surrender to the joy of community and may you remember who you are, God's beloved child. May we revel in joyous celebration at the smallest miracles with wonder and awe. Grace and peace, friends.